Welcome to today's explainer. It's wild, but during a standard 90-second ballroom routine, a dancer's heart rate can literally spike to match that of a middle-distance runner. Crazy, right? But here's the thing. Despite that extreme physical demand, the absolute most common pitfall dancers face, it actually isn't physical fatigue. Nope, it's mental freezing. Think about it. You spend countless hours sweating in the studio, you practice your routines until your feet literally ache, but the absolute second you step out onto that actual competition floor surrounded by judges and those blinding lights, you just freeze up. It's like the magic of the practice room completely vanishes into thin air. So why exactly does that happen? And more importantly, how do you fix it? Well, today, we're exploring the framework of Vladislav Knight's specialized competition training program, based right out of Chicago, which is specifically designed to eliminate that exact problem. Okay, let's dive into this. What actually separates your standard studio practice from walking away holding that first-place trophy? Because, let me tell you, there is a massive gap between a casual rehearsal and actual, undeniable floor readiness. Look, any dancer can memorize steps, right? It's like riding a bike. But Vladislav Knight's program? It's built on the philosophy that knowing the steps is just the absolute bare minimum. To take your skills to the next level, you literally have to redefine what practice even looks like. We're not just talking about casually dancing to the music here. We are talking about intensive training that builds a rock-solid bridge from your typical studio sessions straight to championship execution. Section 1. Mastering Core Dance Fundamentals. So let's slow down for a second, because this is absolutely crucial. You cannot, and I mean literally cannot, build a champion dancer on a shaky foundation. Measurable improvement has to start from the absolute ground up. It relies on 4 non-negotiable pillars: footwork accuracy, posture, frame control, and partner connection. This Chicago-based program meticulously targets these specific mechanics to ensure absolute consistency. Think about it. If your footwork accuracy falters by even a fraction of an inch, your entire sequence gets compromised. Bam, just like that. Your posture and frame control, they completely dictate how you take up space on the floor and project confidence to the judges. And partner connection, well, that's the invisible thread that makes 2 dancers move as a single, unified entity. Without locking in these 4 core fundamentals through targeted drills, the whole shebang just falls apart the second the pressure is on. So the crucial point is really understanding the fundamental difference between general rehearsal and the outcomes that actually matter. General rehearsal is what, frankly, most dancers do. Going through the motions in a comfortable air-conditioned studio, checking yourself out in the mirror, stopping whenever you make a tiny mistake. But Vladislav's program completely flips this paradigm on its head. Coaching here is built entirely around the real-world demands of a competition. They focus intensely on what actually scores points on the floor. We're talking precision timing, flawless presentation, and the ability to maintain the absolute highest quality of performance even under immense, crushing pressure. It's not just about doing it right once. It's about doing it perfectly when it actually counts. Section 2. Polishing Performance and Choreography. Let's move to and see how this builds. Once that rock-solid foundation is in place and your mindset has shifted toward actual competitive outcomes, this is where the raw mechanics transform into true art. They use a highly specific 3-step methodology for developing reliable performance results. Step 1, progressive drills. These laser target the mechanics of movement, making sure those fundamentals we just talked about become absolute muscle memory. Step 2, guided repetitions. This is where the coaches step in to review your execution, providing incredibly critical, performance-focused support to polish your musicality and transitions. You aren't just blindly repeating a routine, you are refining it with expert, real-time feedback every single time. And finally, step 3, simulated competition scenarios. Now, this is where the real magic happens, bringing us to one of the most critical aspects of the entire curriculum. Section 3, strategy under intense pressure. Okay, we're shifting gears now into the sports psychology lens of high-stakes ballroom dance. Because, let's be real, physical training is only going to take you so far. When those bright lights hit and the judges' clipboards are out, your mind has to be just as sharp, if not sharper, than your footwork. Now, what's really interesting about this quote is the emphasis on strategy and confidence under pressure. It really hits the nail on the head, highlighting that winning requires intense mental preparation. It's about having a crystal clear plan for every single event. It's about sustaining your improvement over time and not letting a sudden rush of adrenaline completely ruin your technique. The coaches in this program make absolutely sure that mental preparation is treated with the exact same level of importance as your choreography. It's a total game changer. Section 4. Simulated competition scenarios.
To actively train that mental resilience, the program utilizes what's basically a pressure cooker phase. You can't just learn how to handle the stress of a competition by sitting around talking about it, right? You actually have to be tested in highly realistic environments. So these simulated competition scenarios are intensive practice settings that replicate the exact pacing and intense focus demands of a real event. Dancers are thrown into environments that completely mimic the exhaustion, the rapid-fire timing, and the intense scrutiny of competition day. This specific format is honestly genius. It builds incredibly disciplined preparation habits, teaches dancers how to manage their training intensity so they don't just burn out, and ensures that when they finally step onto the real competition floor, their body and brain simply say, hey, we've been here before. We know exactly what to do.
Section 5. Bridging practice to execution.
And this brilliantly illustrates the true climax of the competitor's journey. It's where the countless grueling hours of progressive drills, the carefully guided repetitions, and all that mental conditioning finally converge into one perfect moment. The program essentially acts as a bridge, connecting that foundational everyday practice directly to higher-level elite competitive execution. It is positioned as a definitive skill accelerator. It takes a dedicated, hardworking dancer who is, good in the studio and provides them with the professional coaching, the structured routines, and the full-scale preparation needed to become truly great on the national or local stage. It finally closes that frustrating gap between what you know you are capable of and what you actually show the judges when it matters most.
So, for those of you tuning into this explainer who are looking for an environment where you can steadily improve through targeted coaching and real, gritty performance rehearsal, Vladislav Knight's Chicago studio can be reached at 224-373-4622. That's 224-373-4622. That is exactly where this journey begins.
I want to leave you with one final, incredibly important thought today. It's a provocative question drawn directly from the core ethos of this program. Are you ready to compete and win? Because as we've seen throughout this whole explainer, simply wanting to win, that's just not enough. You need the raw mechanics, you need the bulletproof strategy, and you absolutely need a training environment that refuses to let you settle for standard, comfortable rehearsal. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep practicing, stay incredibly focused, and I'll see you next time as we unpack another fascinating topic.